So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, DEF, for having us here at MBillion 2016. My name is Prashant, and I represent Valet Easy. We're an on-demand parking and valet services firm, and I think we're all familiar with the challenge that we're trying to address. I think we face it every day when we take our car out or a bike, even if you're traveling with public transport in all of our cities. And that's a challenge that we thought of visualized that we need to address through this business. So I'll dive straight in. At Valet Easy, we sort of looked at key challenges in parking as having three dimensions. The first one, of course, is a problem of discovery. I think one of the biggest issues we've seen, and the IBM study cites this as well, is 30% of all congestion on streets around the world, in India, in the US, elsewhere, is actually people looking for parking spaces because they don't know where that parking is. And it's clearly that's a discovery problem. And the issue in India, of course, is added that there is a lack of secure parking infrastructure available. So there's an infrastructure problem as well in our congested cities. And the way we are approaching this is that we're trying to build a platform that allows you to address both of these challenges. Both help people discover and sort of address the information asymmetry of existing parking spaces in our cities, and also create a model where people can bring new inventory to the platform and create this in a dynamic fashion. The second challenge, of course, is that even once you know that there's a parking space, you don't know if it's available at a particular time in the day. And you don't know if there's any way for you to get an assurance that you'll find a parking space. So clearly a reservation issue. And that's something that Valet Easy will address. It allows people to track availability of parking space. And it allows people to book in advance. So I think the clear point, time when you make a decision on whether or not you want to take your car out is before you leave your home or office. That's a point when you want to be able to decide, can I park here? And will I be able to get parking at a certain point in the day? And that's a problem that we want to solve. And lastly, of course, is the issue around assisted parking. I think even when you have parking around our city, we often don't find it right next to where we want to go. You're going to a shop on the high street, you're going to a restaurant, you're going to an office block, there's no parking available there, there's one available a kilometer away or half a kilometer away, and you have no way to go there and then come back all the way. And that's where we started focusing on valet assistance. So actually, in a strange way, we started from the third piece, around valet assistance, which is also where our name comes from. And part of the idea here was, of course, that assisted parking helps us understand the dynamic of the problem and engage with customers directly. It also addresses a very critical piece, because even if you provide infrastructure everywhere, it's not something that people can access very easily. So this is something that we looked at. And if we look at the overall vision of how Valet Easy is evolving, we see it being in three phases. I think you clearly see the first phase, which we refer to as our learning phase, which is something that we're in the middle of right now, is a place where we are directly providing services direct to customers on the high street in partnership with restaurants, retail outlets, especially jewelry stores, apparel stores, anywhere where people typically spend more than an hour and often spend a lot of money and don't find parking. And of course, the second one is companies located in central business districts, which have parking, but often it's not enough compared to the requirement that is there. And they often go and clog the streets, both legal parking spaces and especially illegal parking spaces, crowding residential areas. And how do you solve that problem? So these are the two segments that we've been working with, and I think the traction that we're seeing right now clearly tells us that people are willing to pay for something like this. We've been making money for several months from customers. We clearly see there's a model where people are willing to pay for this service, even when they have an alternative which is effectively free or highly subsidized. So we started from here, and we clearly see that there are challenges in how you can scale this and make it accessible to everyone around the city. And that's kind of where we decided that we'll build a platform, what we call as a do-it-yourself platform, a DIY platform for parking management and valet assistance, which we can provide to people who want to deploy it on their own. It addresses all of the basic building blocks that you need to manage a good parking lot: security, billing systems, availability, inventory management, all of the rest. And something that people can roll out on their own and manage. This is basically a technology-based solution. And of course, we continue to focus on addressing the issue of how do you create new inventory in our congested cities. So we see this as something that we'll expand significantly in the coming months. We expect to roll this out probably in the next month or two and going into the next year. And I think the end goal for us ultimately is to make parking a shared resource. It's an opportunity that when people already have a well-managed parking space, they often have a lot of empty space, which doesn't get used at certain points in the day, certain points in the week. And can they put that on a system, on a cloud-based system, and make it available to people so that other users can actually pay for that and use it? And can you provide a platform that our customers can use our system across a network anywhere in the city. In fact, probably in any city that we are operational over a period of time, and get assured, secure parking, which they're willing to pay for. And that's how we see parking evolving as a shared resource over a period of time. And with the valet management piece, of course, we continue to see a platform where valets over time can actually come on board in much a similar way as how Uber operates. And people will be able to provide an on-demand assistance whenever they require. And it provides them, obviously, an opportunity to earn additional income. So ultimately, we see this as something that we build through what we call a parking tech stack. Our vision, of course, in the long run is to see how we can build parking as a stable infrastructure, recognizing the dynamics of our urban development model, sort of in a dynamic and decentralized fashion that can be managed with a technology layer on top of a physical infrastructure layer. So that's kind of how we visualize Valet Easy. I think just to close with, we're giving you a quick glimpse of our consumer app. So we have a series of apps that are used by different players, and the consumer app is the one that everybody of us can use. It allows you to both book your parking space or book a valet for that matter. And we are currently operational in Bangalore for several months. And I think we sort of see how evolving this platform over the next few months and years to come. Thank you.